record. And just keep an eye on your chat because I'll put time cues there.
I definitely will. Thank you. Okay, welcome to Grue, and thank you both so much for taking time and coming on.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us. I like the artwork behind you too. That
Thank
mascot's
you.
dope.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's Grue. So that's my little person, well, the animal for my show.
I love that.
Nice.
Thank you. So the first thing I wanted to ask you both, you're in a new film and you're doing voice work, and what goes into doing a voice role, and how do you find like the right voice to use for the role?
Leah, go ahead.
I feel like for me, when it comes to voiceover, it's kind of a full body thing.
Mhm.
You only have your voice. So I think if we're really getting technical with it, a lot of the preparation too is making sure that my voice is in a place to show up the next morning and, sound consistent as this character, to be able to have the energy to do big emotions, and the small ones too, because they take a lot of energy. But I think like it's a lot of experimentation. And I also think, when you're in the booth too, I have found with almost every voiceover project I've done, there's a lot of room for playing around. Just because, sometimes you'll say things like, hey, and it doesn't sound as big as you were like, hey, and like, even though, so I feel like it's a lot of playing around, but also a lot of prep at home too. Like I mean, we get the script usually like the night before, so, or like 2 days before. So I'm usually at home, like trying to kind of practice it and think of a million different ways I could do it in the booth, just so we're not sitting there for 4 hours on one line kind of thing. But I don't know, it's a lot of playtime. I know that sounds quite silly, but it's a lot of playing. How about you, Brandon?
Yeah, like what Leah was saying, a whole bunch of playing. And the creative team, like, Ramen and Young Duk and earlier on Carlos. Speaking of playing, they were really cool about just like letting us do whatever we wanted in the booth. And it's like, yeah, like, all right, here's what's on the scene, here's what's in the scene, here's what's like on the script. Now, like, what would Brandon want to do in here? And how would Brandon feel about the situation? And they would just let me play a bit. So I really liked how much they trusted us as creators to give it
Mhm.
give it our own like personalities. So that was really fun. And also like what goes into getting ready and what goes into doing this voiceover
Yeah.
stuff is, for me, a lot of, I don't know if you've ever had throat coat tea.
Oh yeah,
Leah,
big time.
you drink
It's in
throat
my
coat?
closet.
Yeah.
Yes, I drink it
I was
just not even for my throat.
Yeah, I mean it's yummy and it has like, marshmallow root and licorice root, and it really
Yes.
helps, relax the vocal cords and lubricate the vocal cords. So I was slamming that with like a whole lemon in each cup and a whole like 5 teaspoons of honey to just make sure, because when you're like fighting and yelling in some of these scenes, the voice gets really worn out. So
Yeah.
throat coat kind
Hmm.
of saved me in there.
Wow. So like, when did you actually get to meet the cast in person? Because with the voice roles, you kind of don't see everybody.
Brandon and I actually met maybe a year and a half or 2 years into the process, maybe. Um, yeah,
Oh wow.
and it's funny because I didn't really end up meeting any of the characters at all. I knew Sherry Cola in real life,
Okay.
um, but we never worked together at all. Um, yeah.
Yeah, same. The only two characters that I actually got to work with in the booth were Henry and Leah. And the rest of the cast, I only met them on the day at the premiere. Whoever was able to make it on the premiere was the cast that I was
Yeah.
able to meet. But aside from that, like, I was just kind of imagining like, oh, I wonder what Lucy Liu sounds like, or I wonder how Michelle
Same.
Yeoh is threatening me in this scene. But yeah, I think it was just like more cool just to know that I was going to be able to share the screen with them. But a lot of them I didn't actually get to work with or meet.
Oh
They
wow.
completely
Okay.
surpassed my expectations though in performance because we had our creative team in the back, like, reading the lines to us, like, but Michelle Yeoh is giving this like super crazy performance, and then our creative director is like, "Go away," and I'm like, "Okay." Like,
Yo,
I wonder what the difference is in what they like. It's we still work with it, and it's awesome. But I'm like, I wonder what Michelle sounds like doing that.
You know, nothing against their line reading of it. You know,
For sure.
Ramen in the booth killed it, but you know, it's not the
Go
same
away.
reading
I'm like,
alongside.
yes,
Like,
ramen, go off.
give everything.
Give that. He's like crying in the booth.
Honestly, just
He
like
was
you know
awesome
what, we
though.
should have just had Ramen play Lou.
Yeah, Brahmin should have played all the characters, but she basically did in the booth.
I would love that.
Well, thank you both so much for doing this. I really appreciate you both coming on and taking time.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.